Welcome, kinky friend. I'm Skye, and this is the Aftercare podcast where we normalize the conversation around kink, love, sex, and everything in between. And today I am thrilled to welcome a very special friend and a fellow mistress, Miss Jennifer Hex. Hex is a professional dominant who brings grace, intention, and intensity to transformational BDSM play. By leading with curiosity, she allows submissives to explore unfamiliar spaces and deep desires. Some of her favorite ways to play include couple and group play, fire play, and tease and denial. Her approach is rooted in care, precision, and deep psychological insight, helping subs lean into their edges and unlock new experiences. As a non-binary athlete, she also brings an enthusiasm to strap play, which I can attest to, allowing both men and women to experience the full height of pleasure while providing intentional containers as a dom to explore these things with physical and emotional safety. Now, as she steps further into the realm of content creation and audio-visual storytelling, she is finding joy uplifting submissives around the world with her sillier side as well. So settle in, because today we're going beyond safe words and the basics of kink. We're talking about transformation, embodiment, and the real work of submission with someone who knows how to hold space for all. Welcome to the Aftercare podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
So I figured I have a whole lot of topics. We're going to see what we get through. I'm just really excited to talk to you and dive into a lot of these things. And I figured it would be really fun to talk about our origin story a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you want to share with the whole world and with me how we met?
Absolutely. I'll be happy to. We kind of go way back at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We originally met at a retreat called Love and Leather, which was run by Mistress Colette Purvette and Dr. Kat Meyer up in the Bay Area. And we got into a lot of kinky stuff.
You did.
It was very based in BDSM, but also Tantra. So a lot of breath work, a lot of things like dirty talk, kind of the topics that, you know, are a little bit mushy, and was a great place, I think, for us to meet because it opened up a lot of big conversations pretty early on. Yeah. You were one of the first people I met who was open about being ethically non-monogamous, for example, and into pegging and already exploring that with your partner. And I remember meeting you and being like, oh my goodness, you are amazing. And clearly we're also a great disciplined student. I think we met in a container where it was like, all right, we're all here to learn. Like there's plenty of skills to pick up and things to do. And was very impressed with you from the get-go.
Thanks. Yeah, that was something that I've always been really drawn to about you as well. As a professional student myself, I see that in you. And there's so much trust that I have in you because of that, because you are constantly learning. You are constantly evolving. You have self-awareness. You are constantly practicing as well. Like your craftsmanship and your dedication to your practice and yourself is really admirable.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful I met you.
Yeah, same. I feel like discipline is something that when you recognize it in someone else, it's like recognizes, like, you're like, oh, you actually really enjoy learning about this and like working hard on it and wanting to be better. Okay, perfect. Let's learn more together.
Perfect. One thing that I actually don't know about you at all is how did you get started, like with your dominant story? Like, when did you want to step into it? How did you get into it? What inspired you? Just the whole kit and caboodle of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious once I tell you this to see what parts of it you can relate to, because the person that we met through was actually who inspired me to become a dominatrix. I met Domina Colette Purvette through chance events, honestly. And I met her at a very pivotal time in my life. I was figuring a lot of things out, and I was like, who is this woman who commands power effortlessly? Because she exudes an energy that you're like, oh, you're at ease with yourself, so I can be at ease with myself. And at first I was like, you know, at that point in my life, I was still a pretty, you know, I would consider myself like a nervous person then.
How long ago was this?
This was about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I've always known inside of myself that I can command a room when I want to, that I can step into that energy. But it was always a difficult shift for me. And now I feel so much more grounded in it. But the way that I originally found that journey was through Colette. I met her and I was like, how did you become like this? Have you always been this way? And she had a practice. She had a skill set that she was launching Mistress Class, this kind of introductory course to women really just stepping into their power. And for me, you know, I come from the corporate world. I was like, I would love to be better at negotiation skills and understanding how to set boundaries for myself as well. That's been a huge part of the journey for me. And so after I took that first Mistress Class, I didn't even necessarily know that that was going to be what I did as a profession. I was like, I want these skills and let's see what I can do with it. And once I started playing with subs, I was like, they gave me the feedback. They're like, oh, actually, like this should be your profession. I was like, oh,
really good at this.
Okay, this is fun. And it's something that we're both enjoying. Like, yeah, I do think that that is going to be a long-term path for me. And now I'm like, yes, I'm a professional dominatrix, but also this is my lifestyle. It's what I enjoy doing. I love to play. And yeah, now here we are. And it's evolved into basically my entire world now.
Yeah. Do you remember your first scene?
I remember my first, well, scene and session I think of as differently. Okay. So my first scene, yes, I do remember my first scene. And it actually was one of the first times that I was offered a strap.
Okay.
And I had like played in kind of the kink world before, but not in the sense of like a formal scene where I was like, I am stepping into the mistress role. You are stepping into the submissive role. I'm going to create a very specific container for you. And I'm going to wield this thing inside of you. And I'm going to give you this experience. And let's see where we can go from there. And it went very well.
Had you ever put a strap on before?
I hadn't. And
so
it was
thrusting and everything was so new for you in this space.
It was a very, I don't know if I would call it an out-of-body experience at first, but it was very new. It was something that I, at the time, was still somewhat uncomfortable with. I'm like, what is this thing? Like, what do I do with this thing? But, you know, I had been lucky to experience caring partners in my life to where I was like, I had picked up mentally some skills of things that I enjoyed, and I just tried to replicate that. And, like, obviously getting feedback from them on their body and, you know, men are different from women in a lot of ways. But after that, it really, I think, was the emotional space that I had held that made the biggest impact. Because yes, I was good with the strap from pretty early on, but I made the person feel safe. I made them feel seen, and I allowed them to receive in a way that a lot of men don't get to receive. And after that, we had, I mean, it was a pretty like long amount of aftercare in a good way, because there was a lot to process. There was a lot to talk through. And I think a big part of the beauty of aftercare is that you're like, okay, how can we make this even better next time? How can we take that next step? So it was a new experience for me, but something that I was like, okay, I like this. You like this. We both like this. Let's continue to build on it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think that's a really beautiful thing about strap play, especially with men who have not explored it a lot, is that vulnerability and that intimacy that you get to give them, that safety that you get to give them. And you're putting them in a different position. Like their perspective is different because they are either under you or they're in front of you. And that's not a view that a lot of guys ever get to see. And so they get to really experience how beautiful that power is of penetration and being held in that space when somebody does it appropriately and perfectly. So
yeah, the being held part I think is huge of it, because it is very, very vulnerable. You're like, you are literally opening yourself up to me. And for some people where that's their first experience, it's like, what just happened? Yeah. Like, let's unpack that.
Like, am I okay? Are we okay? What do I do about this? And you just kind of hold that space for them to process in whatever way they need to.
Yeah, the processing part is huge. I feel like in BDSM, like in the actual scene, you're almost like operating on not an autopilot and not necessarily just your subconscious, but it's like once the scene ends, then a lot of the processing happens of like, okay, I felt that as a physical sensation in my body when you were doing it. And now I get to think about, well, how does it make me feel now? Like, what am I reflecting on?
Right. Yeah. I think of it almost as like an integration after a psychedelic experience. When somebody's like, this has changed me. What do I do with this now? And where do I go with it from here?
Yeah. So. You go through the portal and you're like, and what next? Great.
So I'm curious, what is the difference for you between a scene and a session?
So lifestyle and professional domination are, you know, there's people that just play in their lives. They aren't, you know, they don't have a profile online where someone can come and say, hey, I would like to play with you in a very specific capacity. So a session for me is someone has found me as a professional dominatrix online and they're approaching as a respectful submissive saying, hi, mistress, I'm interested in playing with you. Do you think we would be a fit? Here's a little bit about me. Then we get to know each other, and you set up a session, let's say at a dungeon downtown, something where, you know, you and the person are both coming together, and there are very specific boundaries that have been put in place from a professional standpoint. Because in lifestyle, it's like you leave the scene, you know, I can play with someone and it can just be play. I can play with someone and it can be a long-term training thing. So for me, lifestyle and profession, like for example, you and I, we lifestyle play. We also do things in creating content. But with lifestyle, it's like, this is my day-to-day life. You know, I might call you on the phone and just FaceTime you, see how you're doing. And in the professional world, there are check-ins, but it's much more regimented of like, here is a package that I have specifically curated to provide as a professional experience. And lifestyle, at least in this point of my life, I think of as this upper echelon of play that I do of once you have gained my trust as a submissive, you get access to more of me. My life is something that I keep protected in certain ways because you do need to have boundaries. My clients need to understand that there are certain things that I have to keep to myself to keep myself safe. And that's part of being a dominatrix, is being able to hold that line and say, this is for me. This is what we're sharing together, and that's amazing and beautiful. But I need to make sure that I do have boundaries in place so that I can stay safe. So yeah, you're very special, and I like playing with you in all of the capacities.
Thank you. And you're really big on earning as well. And I really appreciate that about you, because it is something that you have to work for it, and there has to be a commitment for that. And those boundaries are really important. And I have learned that good and bad about setting boundaries. And sometimes it's really hard to set boundaries. Yeah, but
it is really
they're
hard.
needed, like for that emotional and especially physical safety. Like you have to have a line, and a clear line for a lot of submissives.
Absolutely. I love that you brought up the phrase earn, because it is something that I have in place for boundaries, people earning things. It's also a huge kink of mine. I'm like, it's sexy when someone really works for it. And I'm like, oh, you want that bad. And you wanting that bad is a feedback loop for me where I'm like, oh, I'm actually aroused and activated by that. I like seeing how badly you want to give it to me. And when you put in the work for it, that's going to make me want to do even more with you. So I love that feedback loop. I'm like, yes, earn more.
I love that. How would you say that your Dom style has evolved over time, or has it evolved over time?
Yes, it definitely has evolved over time. I think when I first started, I had this idea of like what the perfect Dom was. Like, you know, the very like prototypical, you're in all black, you're very stern. It's like almost what people in the vanilla world would just think of as like a quote unquote bitch. And it's like that is absolutely a role that I love to go into, and I love to play that stern meanness. But also I think that one of the biggest ways I've evolved is being like sillier and understanding that a lot of times, like, you're playing with tension and release. If you're just rah the whole time, that doesn't give this like oscillation of highs and lows. But if I can move between all the different sides of myself, first of all, it feels much more natural. You're seeing all of my genuine reactions in the moment, and I'm allowing myself to be more myself. So in the beginning, it's this idea of, Colette calls it act as if until you are. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay, I see this role. I know how to play this character. This is something that I enjoy doing. And as soon as you do that enough times and you get your repetitions in, you're like, oh, here are the things that I specifically like to do within that context. Yeah. And your personality gets to come out more. So when I'm playing, I might be really, really mean and giving you a beating, and all of a sudden I'm giggling. And I'm like, oh, this is so fun. And it's really silly and actually cute. But then I'm going to bring you back into that sternness. And when you get pulled between those things, it also keeps the submissive a little bit more on edge. And I think that's really fun, because you don't really want them to always be able to anticipate every single thing that's coming. You want them on their toes. So when I bring out more of myself, it allows me to just get a little bit more fun and funky with it. And I think that it enriches the scene, because everyone's just able to bring out their fullest selves too. Right. The more you show, the more they show.
I love that. When you said act as if you are, that is something that has led a little bit of my life for the last 3 years, I would say. Like when I first heard that was one of the first notes I took from our lace and leather retreat, actually. And when I have a bunch of different archetypes that I pull on from day to day even. And when I get into a really anxious mode, I pull on my goddess archetype a lot, because a goddess isn't anxious. And so it's like, okay, what would she be doing right now? And sometimes that can really help me to step into maybe not even my fullest power, just maybe into a little bit of power to get me through the day. So that is a motto that I have lived by for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like allowing yourself to pull from the archetypes is super helpful because you're almost like, okay, you're taking the wheel now. Like, goddess is in charge. She's got this. Like, your worries, they don't matter because there is someone here to take care. And I like to think of it too as like, I have all of these things inside of me. And so sometimes I'm like, okay, any worries or any fears that I may have, those, you're going to go sit in the corner. We're getting into ignore fetish now. You shut up and sit over there. Jennifer is in charge. Mistress Hex is going to take care of it. So we're just going to have you be quiet for a minute. And once I have cared for the situation, then we're going to figure out, all right, what are we unpacking next? What does Jennifer need help with? So I love that you can channel that too with Goddess Skye.
Yeah, I've gotten to create a lot of fun archetypes. And I imagine you've created some fun archetypes.
Yeah. I feel like for me, the three biggest ones that I play with are Mistress, Goddess, and Enchantress. They're kind of like my like triad of Dom personas. And they all mix together when I'm playing. But I feel like Mistress is the most stern. She's the mean one that's like, if you messed up and you need to be disciplined, like unfortunately, she has to discipline you. It's for your own good. Mistress is here and she's going to take care of it. And Goddess is a little bit more, Goddess honestly was born to be worshipped. Goddess is like,
they are.
Yeah, of course. How could you not? If someone is presenting that energy to you, you're like, oh yeah, absolutely, Goddess. I will do whatever you need. And Enchantress is more of that mystical, magical, almost like the magician archetype for me. Where I'm like, I've got something up my sleeve always. Like, I will keep you on your toes. I'm going to lure you in with these pretty things, but there's always something you're not going to be expecting. It's not just a pretty face. It is a lot more than that. And that also comes in with the psychology piece of it, I think, where I'm like, the Enchantress is alchemizing. She's taking all of these fun, yummy things, and she's going to make something even better. You don't know what it is, but you're going to be shocked, surprised, and delighted.
And I always am. I love it. I pull on a lot of different archetypes, but my three most common right now is this Goddess Universal play that I like to do, mommy, and then a coach a little bit. Like, it's kind of this coach mommy, because I see that a lot of people need a mommy, and I want to be a mommy. I'm such a nurturer, but I am this mommy that you don't want to let down, because I will sometimes abandon my children. So that's where my coach steps in. Like, if you want to be on the team, don't fucking disappoint me.
You got to work hard if you want to be on the team.
Yeah. Like, I love you, but you're out of here. You didn't practice. You didn't show up.
I think that is something that is very, very necessary and that I have seen in you, and that also really does motivate me too, because you lead by example. You're a coach, but you're also leading by example, which is like, oh, she is working really, really hard. Of course I need to be working that hard. Why would I not want to be making her proud? Like, you lead by the example, and that is what allows the submissives to step into their fullest potential too. So,
and I love having you on the team.
You're a very good coach.
And then my third archetype would be, like, I do like this good girl, or this girl next door, like this slutty girl next door, because I am not afraid to talk about the things that a lot of people are afraid to talk about. I am cute enough that maybe you'll listen to me, and I'm very privileged to say that. And I can make it fun enough for you to feel safe enough to be vulnerable. And then that's when my mommy can come in too. Because it's like, oh, good girl got you here. That like sweet girl next door led you to the door. But who's behind the fucking door?
Yeah. But you have to, I think that the girl next door, that approachability is something that sets you apart, because it's like, domination can be scary for a lot of people. It can be very, very intimidating. And when you do have that, I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl.
Just a girl with a strap on. What am I going to do with this?
I'm here to play. I'm here to have fun. And I think it does put people at ease, where they're like, okay, this is a human being. Like, you could be my neighbor, and I would be very into playing with that. So I'm glad that you were able to move between all of them. And your girl next door definitely drew me in as well.
She's a good girl. Oh, okay. Big question that I have for you. Do you have like a ritual, or what does it look like to embody Miss Hex when you know you're about to step into a session or a scene, or even into this Aftercare podcast? Is there a space that you're getting into?
Yes, absolutely. I think that my rituals have evolved as I have become more comfortable in being able to switch in and out of my different energies. I could be dominating as Hex in a onesie, no makeup, just in my sweatpants, anything like that. But when I am preparing for a very specific session where I have More of my like formal mistress energy where I'm like, I want you to be on your knees drooling, doing this very specific thing. I do have a ritual that allows me, I think, to feel both sharp and creative at the same time. A big part of that for me is my eyeliner. When I put on my eyeliner, I'm like, first of all, I'm painting, and I don't paint a lot on canvases other than my face. But I'm like, I am very, very precise, but also creative. So it's knowing that there's that structure. Things are very regimented. There is a method, but also there is a freedom and an ability to, every time I draw that line, it's going to be a little bit different. But at the same time, I know the curve of my eye. I know the way that the brush feels on my face, and I'm able to connect to myself. And it really is like almost like a glamour ritual. And I think that that is part of the goddess worship as well, because before I step into the session with the submissive that will be worshiping me, I am also reminding myself, I worship me because I deserve to be worshipped. So it's really allowing myself to connect to that. And when I do, I'm like, goddess is here. She's ready. You better be ready too. And I know you will be.
I'll make sure you are.
Yeah. But also music. Colette has that playlist, Channel Your Inner Dominatrix. And when I listen to that, the song Priestess, first of all,
Priestess is a
like
good song.
if I listen to it, I'm like, yes, I'm ready for literally anything. But definitely I think caring for myself and my body, like even oiling my legs, that is something that when I do that and I'm like the moisturizing, the self-care, putting in the intention to understanding that there's a reason why other people want to worship. It is because you show them you are worthy of it. Yeah. And that allows me to connect, to drop in. And then I'm like, ready to go.
I love that. Music is a big one for me too.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like I have playlists for my submissive side, and I have playlists for my mommy, and I have so many different like dominant playlists. And I will sit there and I will do like breath work to it. And then I will oil, like naked body. I will oil my body. Same thing. Like I need to feel myself getting back into my body. And I start with like my feet, and I work my way all the way up to my neck. And I would say my hair is a big one for me. I have a lot of connection with my hair. And so like when I put that like last final brush through my hair, it's like I am here. What would you... So for a lot of listeners, I have like a lot of listeners that are into kink and BDSM, and then a lot of listeners who are very curious about it. How would you define dominance and submission? Like what does that power exchange look like for you?
Dominance and submission and power exchange, I think, is a cycle. It is a feedback loop. I think that the dominant is the person that is making sure that the safe space is created so the submissive gets to experience their chaos, their exploratory nature that probably they don't get to explore in a lot of other places. Right. And the dom is creating that grounded energy. The dom is also understanding the submissive. I think this is a really key part of it, which is you have to be aware of your submissive, their desires, their proclivities, their limits and triggers, as much as they need to be aware of how to serve you. Because when you understand what drives the submissive, the things that turn them on a lot or the things that get them really hyper aroused, you get to play with that. And I'm really into tease and denial. So for me, the dominant is the one that is creating their journey. You're taking the submissive to a specific place that you have pre-negotiated you want to go together. They don't necessarily know the exact beats of how you're going to get there, but they are aware of everything that they've consented to along that journey. And some submissives have more limits than others, may be open to more leeway of creativity, things that you want to bring into it. But I think for the most part, the dominant is really the person that is making sure the submissive is safe to explore. The submissive is safe to voice the things that they desire. They may not get them, but they know that they're not going to get anything other than acceptance when they do. And so for me, power exchange is really someone offering up a big part of themselves to you, and you're like, I will handle this with care. I might handle it with care by beating you, but that's still a way of handling it with care if you're into pain. So every submissive and dominant dynamic is going to be different because we're individuals. It's very interpersonal where I play with you completely different than I would play with anyone else because it's about you. You in that moment are the person who all of my attention is on. I literally actually will stop having certain like physical sensations. Like I never need to go to the restroom during a session because I'm aware of that person. My body, I'm here to hold that space and to create the container. And that's really fun because I like creating worlds and building worlds. And when you have a BDSM dynamic, you have all of these fun things to play with. And the options are literally endless. Like you could create any scene out of just about anything.
I love that. When you talk about that, it reminds me, or it just makes me think of negotiation, obviously. And a lot of people that are not in kink, they think that talking about doing something beforehand like is a turn off. They think that going into too many details like ruins the spontaneity of things. But can you talk about like why or what is a negotiation and why it's so important, and maybe even how you do it, because you do it so differently than a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So at its core, I think that a negotiation is where you're building trust. And if you're going into a scene, the sub has to have trust in the dom, but the dom also has to trust the sub. So the negotiation is where you're figuring out a lot of information from the person's background, the things that have brought them to kink. How did you get here? What are the things that you're into? Have you tried these things before, or are they new to you? I think a big part actually is understanding someone's experience level, because if someone is very new, you have to approach things differently. You have to go a lot slower and allow them to bridge into things. But a negotiation, beyond just getting their background and their interests and their proclivities, you're also getting some important medical information, any physical limitations that they have, things, for example, kneeling. Someone may not be able to be on their knees for an extended period of time. You need to know that. Also, hard and soft limits. This is the part where you figure out what are the things that I can't do and what are the things that I am going to intentionally push you on. Because I think in BDSM, you're actually trying to guide your submissive to lean into those edges and to see how much can you take? What are you capable of? What can I grow you into? How can you evolve with me? And then obviously also a huge part of negotiation is aftercare, as the name of this podcast, of figuring out, once I have taken you to this space where I understand the things that you're into, the things that I'm into, and we found really the overlap. I think that's the key with the negotiation, is like, think of it like a Venn diagram. Here are your things, here are my things. Where do we fit together, and how can we play in that special space? That's where it gets really juicy. And once you've played there, how do I then bring you back to reality? How do I make sure that you do feel reintegrated? Because when someone enters subspace in a scene, their mind, all those chemicals going, all that stuff, it's a lot. And so figuring out what they need after the fact is really important to know before, because you talk about some people feeling awkward by talking about things. Imagine how awkward you would feel if you had a really intense experience and the person had no idea how to take care of you after. That would be way more awkward to me. So I think that it's actually quite sexy. I get to tell someone, you know what, I am really, really into when you massage my feet in that certain specific way. That's what's going to maybe even get a little noise out of me. Don't you want that noise out of me? That's where you find the fun things. So for me, the negotiation is really like getting to know the sub and allowing the sub to get to know you too. Because like I said earlier, the more vulnerable you are, the more you share about yourself, the more they can share. If I tell you that I'm into something that you would never think that someone might be into, then you're like, oh, that thing that I never talk about, like I can tell her that because she's going to be open to hearing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I remember our first negotiation before, I think it was the pegging threesome that we did, like sitting on the bed with you and literally just starting from like our heads to our toes of like areas, like what do we like done to this part of our body? What do we not like done to it? And it was really nice to just not feel rushed, because there's a lot of times when we're getting ready for a scene or dropping in with each other that we kind of miss a lot of things on our body. We're like, oh, actually, I don't like my underarms being touched, but I forgot to tell them that. And now they're touching it. Is that my fault because I didn't say it? But now when we open up this really big space to allow all of these little things that might feel like nuances, it's a way that we really get to learn about each other. And we don't have to do it every single time, but when we enter these spaces of newness or these new toys or these new techniques that we want to do, we get to actually talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like one thing to mention too on the negotiation point is that's also the place where I talk about safe words. And so the person gets to understand, okay, I use the stoplight system, red, yellow, green. Red, everything is stopping. Yellow, that's a check-in. So maybe we did have a negotiation before and you told me you like your hair pulled, but I pulled it in a way that you didn't love. You could yellow then, and that's it's a time where we get to talk and check in and be like, all right, let's adjust this here. And then once I get a green from you, I can then go back into play and we can continue to build from there. Yeah. So again, setting that up, that communication in the beginning is like, now we have a fail safe. If something goes in any way that we don't desire, we can pause, we can stop, we can keep going, but we know the language to communicate that, which is super important for you to feel safe of like, oh yeah, I will let her pull my hair, because if she pulls it in a way that I'm not into, we can communicate about that and it's going to be okay.
There's a way to stop it.
Yeah.
I use the red light system too, but I actually added blue in like the last year after a training that I went to for dissociation. Because I know I dissociate a lot. I have a lot of sexual trauma, and I've seen it in a few subs that I've had sessions with, even like a girl massage that I did once. Like this put this human into like a trance state, and she was not able to like drop back into her body. And so there's techniques that I have to be able to bring somebody back in, whether that's just using the 5 senses or breath work, or just slowing down and sitting somebody up and like doing like a yab yum almost, or just bringing in different music. But that disassociation is such a big one for a lot of women, I've noticed in spaces.
Yeah, dissociating is definitely something that is an interesting experience to observe in someone. And also that's something that you can talk about if like, what does it look for you? What does it look like for you when you're enjoying something? What does it look like when you're not enjoying something? What does it look like when you don't know? And maybe we need to check in there. And I feel like also something that is good in that realm is nonverbal safe words, like having something that someone can hold. And if they drop it, you know that they're not able to literally hold on to like a stuffy, for example. That's a sign that we need to stop. We need to do a check-in. So yeah, there's so many different ways of making sure that the communication goes. And I love that blue.
One thing that I really admire about you is that you are a craftsman, and you also admire craftsmen.
Love a good craftsman.
You practice a lot. And so I would love for you to share your favorite tools or techniques or art in the world of kink that you are learning or getting into, or that you feel like you're doing really well.
Oh yeah, I love that question. So for me, I think of this like overarching category of tools as wands. And so for me, I love playing with my wands. And I feel like one of the ones that I have been very, very drawn to recently is whip. I think that a whip is a very powerful wand because some people are into pain and you can play with a whip by actually hitting them with it. Some people may be aroused by the thought of a whip, but they couldn't take a whipping. And you can still use that as like an auditory signal in a session. You can crack a whip and you don't have to hit someone with it. And I think also I have started relating my love for whip to people's love for golf. Because I've heard that golf is quite addictive because once you hit the ball and you get that clean crack, your brain gets this feedback loop that's like, ooh, that was perfect. That was exactly how I want to do it again. So for me, cracking a whip, literally just like practicing randomly. I like to spend a lot of time outdoors too. And I have different length of whips, like big whips, you need a very large space, small whips, whatever. For me, getting to spend time, whether it's in a dungeon, whether it's in nature, hearing the crack of my whip and knowing that that is something that I worked towards. And that positive, the noise that it makes is my reminder and my incentive to continue practicing, to continue leveling up. Because when you first start with a whip, you're like, what do I do with this?
I have a whip and I don't even know how to yield it. I would love for you to just go outside with me and just show me how to hold the fucking thing. Because it's so intimidating. And I have so much fear around hurting myself. As silly as that might sound, that's why I haven't started, is because I don't want to whip my eye out.
It does not sound silly. I have a face shield that you can practice with, and that is how I started. Because yeah, you definitely can whip yourself. And like when you first learn, you will.
Yeah.
But I think that also will help you gain empathy and understanding for when you're whipping a sub. I think, and honestly, everything that I do in terms of like craftsman, I practice everything on myself before I do it on others, because until you can understand how it feels to someone, like you can't possibly gauge what they could be going through. Right. So yes, happy to lend you that.
Perfect. Yeah.
It takes a long time. And I think that that's something that I actually like about it the most. I like challenging things. So if I can't get something the first time, maybe it's frustrating. Maybe that's difficult. But that's literally what I'm doing to my submissives. I am giving them challenges and I want them to have to work. I want them to struggle. I like watching the suffering and seeing like, you know what, this is going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but when you put in the work, you will get the result. And so for me, whip has been one of those things. It's like, it started very challenging, and with time and repetition, like repetition is the father of learning. If you keep doing something enough times and you put in the effort and intention, you will find the place that you're trying to go. So
repetition is the father of learning. I love that.
Yeah, that's actually a Lil Wayne lyric.
Perfect. Perfect. So you're kind of like a little dom to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I am absolutely. I submit to Jennifer as much as any of my subs do. I feel like I get up in the morning and I'm like, all right, what does Jennifer need? Because when you have a purpose, everything else can fall into place in life. Like purpose is so, so important. I try and make sure that my subs always understand what their purpose is. I don't just say do this. I will be very clear about why I want that done. It's not just rub my feet. It's you better rub my feet so good that when I walk out of here, I don't feel any pain in my feet. Because if I do, then I will remember that you are the one who did not rub my feet good enough. So you better rub those feet really good. So yeah, purpose is very important for me. I definitely serve Jennifer. I think that honestly, I feel like Jennifer Hex understands that I'm able to hold what needs to be held for her to do her thing. And so honestly, most things in my life, from the time that I wake up in the morning and I'm brushing my teeth or eating anything, I'm like, you know what? I'm fueling Jennifer. I am allowing her to have the things that she needs to make the changes that I know she's capable of, because I see what she's capable of. And when you receive feedback from people that tell you that you've impacted them, you're like, I need to honor that. Because if I can make a change for you and it's a positive change and something that you are learning and growing from, how could I rob you of that experience? How could I not step into that power? I think that's a huge thing that I took away from that initial mistress class. Our certificates say, thank you for stepping into your power. It's like when you have a gift, when there's something that you can share with people, sharing it becomes rewarding. Yeah. And it becomes something where you're like, absolutely, I want to sub for her. Ooh, she'll do good things with this power. Let me give it to you.
Yeah. I love that. Is there anything that you, like, what is the edgiest thing that you have done during a scene or a session that maybe even surprised you that you didn't know that you would ever do?
That surprised me that I didn't know I would ever do.
Yeah, do you have any, maybe you don't, maybe you're not a very surprised person by...
I feel like the main reason why the word surprise for me doesn't necessarily resonate there is my submissive and I would have talked about all the things that we were going to be doing. But there are some people that have very few limits. So, I do have a good one, actually. This was just something that was kind of a random ritual that came to me. So I've talked before about how I really like people doing things with intention for me. I love having my strawberries cut for me.
Okay.
And I had a sub that... gained a lot of trust, has been in my life for many years now. And we went on a trip and we went to the woods and he went grocery shopping, came back, had all the things. And I was like, I want all of the holes of the strawberries cut out. And when I was younger, I would fill my strawberries with sugar before I ate them. Okay. Well, at this place that we were staying, there was a suitcase elevator. So there was like 3 flights of stairs to get up to the cabin. I put him on the suitcase elevator, laid him on his back, said, open your mouth, put the strawberry in his mouth, and I created a ritual. And until the sugar was sprinkled on that strawberry in his mouth, he was not allowed to release. And having someone in the middle of literally all nature, everywhere that you look around, on this suitcase elevator, doing everything in their power to hold in themselves with a strawberry in their mouth, waiting to be sugared to get to release, I lost my mind. Like that was it's one of my favorite memories and was definitely surprising for this person in a way that they were like, I never would have thought that would be so arousing, but somehow the final sprinkle of sugar was like, wow, okay. So that one was really fun. And I think I really enjoy the things where it's based on the environment. You're like, okay, I have a lot of things to work with here. We have this nature, we have this suitcase elevator. What could I do with that? Well, this would be really interesting. You have a platform, you're laying on your back, you're looking at the sky. This is beautiful. Now, how can I make this kinky and perverted? And for me, it's the creative challenge that I really, really like and enjoy because I enjoy creating scenes that you can't do exactly the same way twice. It's the same thing as drawing the eyeliner. I'm like, this experience is unique. I want to craft a unique, memorable experience. And honestly, the weirder that you get with it, the more specific you get with it, the more that memory becomes ingrained because it's nuance, it's novelty. And our brain loves novelty. We love new things. Like, one of my biggest goals in life is to continue seeing new things every day, to see all of the things that the world has to offer. So I want to give my subs all of the experiences the world has to offer. Like, who else is going to fill your mouth with a strawberry and sprinkle with sugar and make you release into the forest? I don't know. But if you meet someone else like that, I would like to be their friend.
Right. No, that's like your little enchantress where you're just like, what can I come up with? I'm going to make this as magical as possible. I'm going to blow your mind. I'm going to blow my mind too.
Yeah. I love blowing my own mind.
Just for me as well.
It really is. It really is just as much for me.
Since you've been in like the world of kink and BDSM for a while now, what is a couple or even just one like red flag behaviors when you're talking to somebody or meeting somebody, or even if you just see something online?
Boundary pushing, like hands down. If I say a boundary, that is the boundary. And if you even ask again, I'm like, oh, well, now I know that I cannot trust you to listen. Like, it is such a simple, simple thing. There are, I have a short-ish list of boundaries. Needle play, blood play, Roman showers. Like, if you ask me for those things after I have clearly said to you that I don't do them, you are missing respect. You are missing an understanding of what this dynamic is, and I will not be engaging with that. Boundaries are not something that are here for you to give me your input on. So that is just like the fastest red flag where I'm like, well, that was fun while it lasted, and goodbye.
It's a really good one. Yeah, one of my biggest ones is, especially because I'm a known switch, is doms, especially when they don't have a capacity to learn new things or to have that self-awareness where they're like, no, it's this way. And the little brat and the skeptic in me is like, that's bullshit. And I'm not safe with you because you're not willing to adapt and evolve. And kink is just not one way. It's not black and white. And it's a hill I will die on of just everybody gets their own flavor. Everybody gets their own choice. And if you don't want to adapt to me or adapt to new practices, you don't get to touch me.
Exactly. Like, it has to be individualized.
Yeah.
That's the point. The point is that it is for us to get to explore our specific selves. And yeah, I think that being able to adapt, I almost look at it as like an adversity response. It's like, okay, I have this thing that I think that I am confident that I know how to do. Someone has now given me new information. That's a challenge. How do I take the information I have, the new information they've given me, and bridge into a newer, better place for that specific person? Yeah. So yeah, that is definitely something that is good to look out for in a doll.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Do you have a fantasy scene that you've wanted to do, or is there anything that's like hot on your mind that you would love to explore?
Yeah, I've really been thinking a lot about Lucky Pierre. I think that is something. I think honestly, a lot of the fantasies that I have to explore now are group play and things that, because like that's high challenge too. Mm-hmm. I think that playing with multiple people at the same time is much higher challenge. And some of my favorite scenes have actually been where I've been doing impact play with two people with different pain tolerances and having to be individualized between those. And so actually it was something that I believe you and Sunny did that was a Lucky Pierre, and I saw it and I was like, oh, you know what? There's other ways to connect all of these things in one beautiful thing together. And I think that whether it's playing with couples, threesomes, any type of those things, figuring out how to involve everyone in a creative and inviting way is very, very fun. So a lot of group fantasies. I love training good holes. And so many of them have to do with that. Yeah, I would love to just have like a lineup of like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly what I'm allowed to say on this platform. Fisting. Oh yeah, no, I would love to like line up a bunch of people and just like fist, you know what I mean?
Like anally fist or whatever, both.
I think it would depend on if it was a man or a woman. For women, I would probably prefer fisting and not the ass, just because stretchier, a little easier. But with men, like, yeah, no. I mean, if you and Sunny were side by side, one fist for each, like, why not?
Like a puppet master.
Literally puppet master. Like, you want to talk now? Ventriloquist.
Oh, I love that. With the Lucky Pierre, are you the behind position then?
I would like to be the behind
you are.
position. I really like being, I like I like a good hip grip. I really enjoy a good hip grip. I also enjoy a good shoulder grip. I think
Dude, I like a good shoulder grip. Because you can like also arch your back too. Like there is something really sexy about yielding a strap and just like fucking somebody in doggy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I also like one thing that I think that I really enjoy is being able to play with my arms and like move around. Like if I am doing something with my hips, I do want to be able to have fun. Maybe even like do a little sensual dance or something.
I like constantly do this when I'm nervous.
Yeah, I've noticed that this is one of your go-tos and I like it.
Turn into a crane.
It's a good thing to turn into.
Yeah, I like cranes.
Elegant bird.
Perfect. Yeah, so if you want to do a Lucky Pierre tonight, we can do that.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness. I kind of want to talk about this scene that we did last night. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a scene last night.
We did a very fun scene.
And I was a little nervous just for the sense of Sunny leading it because that's not a space that he's done before. And I think he did a really good job with it.
He did an amazing job.
Yeah. And I think you guys flowed really well together. My first like double dom scene was with you. And so you make it very... I don't know, you make it very exciting. You also make it so that I don't want to disappoint you. So I like step into my fucking A game. And I'm like, Miss Hex is coming into the room. She's coming into the room.
I'm coming, girl.
For me
Get
and
ready.
for you. And it was a lot of fun to play with you. And last night, I have a stretching and a fisting fetish, and you did it.
Oh yeah, well no, I think it was actually this hand.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was a whole thing. Yeah, you really opened up there. Honestly, I thought that it was going to take a little bit longer to open you, but you were really
You wanted it.
You
I
were
did
a
it for you.
good hole.
I'm a good girl.
Thank you very much for that experience.
Yeah.
Great experience.
Perfect. All right, what else do I have? Do you have anything for me before we kind of like wrap things up?
Ooh, I would love to know what fantasies you have had that you are hoping to explore, because you've explored a lot, but there's endless possibilities.
Gosh, I have some fantasies that I haven't even told the internet because people are crazy. I have a overstimulated fantasy. It's a group play as well, where I am blindfolded, which blindfolding is kind of an edge for me. I am such a control freak. Like I will top from the bottom like almost all the time unless you're there because I know that you can hold me and you can handle it and you don't need my help. And so it's really hard for me to like give away some of those reins at times. But I need to let people fumble, and the blindfold I know helps other people to feel comfortable in that space. But I would like to be overstimulated in the sense of like all of my holes being used, headphones in so that I can either hear a lot of music or nothing at all. Like a lot of compliments, a lot of nothing, a lot of degrading, nipple play, electro play, wax play, just all over the place until I'm like panting.
Overstimulation is hot. I feel like in the scene that we did yesterday, there was a point where your brain and your eyes, the way that they were just like absolutely gone and lost in the best way. Would love to see you experience more of that because you look great in an overstimulated state.
I like being overstimulated. I usually cry afterwards. And I'm okay with that. It's a good release. Crying is a good release after an orgasm.
Crying is a great release. There's that catharsis. You're like, everything is great. Honestly, after a good cry, you feel invincible. You're like, oh yeah,
I just
that feels
opened
right.
a channel.
Yeah.
that was a heavy weight.
And now the weight is gone.
What do you think? Okay, so I have two more questions that I can think about off the top of my head. What are some of the most common requests that you get as a dominant? Whether that is from your like fan pages or other ways that you connect with people. What are your most common requests?
I feel like people actually really like CEI, comedic instructionals. I feel like that's definitely something that I feel like most of the common things that I get as specific requests are the ones that are a little bit more taboo, where people are like not necessarily open to explore it. Because I have listed out a lot of my big kinks and things on my page. And those are, pretty simple stuff, whether that's like tease and denial, foot fetish, all of that. But comedic instructional and some of these more like honestly heavily intense psychological play where people really do want to be degraded and made to because I'm a dominant that that I care. So me giving you a degrading experience, you're like, this is a safe place to literally feel like garbage or to feel like I am unworthy or to be told these humiliating things. I think that humiliation is something that people are really into because it allows you to experience that in a way that you're choosing. It's like in real life, if someone is humiliating you, that hurts. You're like, why are you making fun of me? Like, what did I do? But when it's something where you have a specific container and you can step out of it, that I think is something that is common for people because they're like, I want to be able to experience this in a way that isn't actually going to hurt me long term. And that is really great. I also think that from a virtual perspective, a lot of people like bondage instructions on how to put themselves into certain positions.
Ooh.
Like, and I don't even necessarily need them to use cuffs or rope or anything like that. I do have some subs that are very talented at rope, and I love directing a rope scene virtually, which is an interesting experience. But my words are bondage. So me telling you, you have to stay in this certain position for this amount of time. You're going to set a timer. When that timer goes off, you're going to tell me your experience of this specific thing. That is something that I really love and I enjoy when I get those requests, because it's me getting to bring someone into a world from a distance. And that is a crazy type of power to feel, where you're like, we're not even in the same room and you are just ready to drop.
Right.
You are ready to take that instruction and you're going to prove it to me. Like, people enjoy sending, photos, videos, whatever the case may be, of them in their positions. I think position training, like slave training as well, is something that is pretty common, where people, like we talked about purpose, people want a purpose. Yeah. Slave training gives someone a purpose, that they're there to serve and they understand they're being useful. And it feels good to be useful. It feels good to know that you're doing something that's making the other person happy. So definitely all of those are both common, but also just I really enjoy them because I'm like, absolutely, let's get into it.
Yeah, I love that. And so many guys just want to share too. When they're like, I am on my hands and knees plugged for you. Can I please show you what I look like? And you're like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I know you've probably never shared this with anybody else and you feel safe enough to do it here. Share whatever you would like.
Yeah. I really do like those moments where it's something where it's an intimate thing. It's like, this is special. This is private to me in this case, and I'm going to share it with you. It's like, what an honor. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with me. You look fabulous.
Exactly.
So good with that plug in your ass.
Oh my gosh. Like, so many guys with like sissification kinks or even just panty fetishes. And they're like, I have guys that are like blue collar workers and they wear these little red thongs to work like every day.
Yes.
And they'll send me a picture of them every day. And it's like, you look so fucking good. You look pretty. I know you want to look pretty.
Boys look cute in panties.
Boys look very pretty. And they just want to be pretty.
Yeah.
And boys should be pretty sometimes.
Yeah, boys can be pretty. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think, from your perspective, that a lot of men have a hard time admitting that they would like to be submissive?
Oh, I mean, I think years and years, like, the patriarchy just beats into you, like, be a man, and if you aren't what we think a man should be, then you're bad. Yeah. And it's like, it's shame. It is shame that has been pummeled in over years and years. And when things become systematic like that, it is really hard to uproot them, because systems have structure. Yeah. And when there is structure, that's a container that you're used to understanding how to explore. And when you take the flip side of that, you're like, I actually have no idea how to explore this. There's no blueprint. There is no institution showing me how to do it. Wouldn't it be great if there was? Right. And then from there, they get to explore that with someone that has created this world for them. So as a dom, you're like, here, let me show you what it could look like if I put together a place where you can be whatever you want to be. And then from there, we get to have a lot more fun.
Love that. I absolutely agree with that. What would you say to other femmes who are just starting their journey of stepping into their power, or even just curious about what it would look like to explore this world of maybe not even being a dominatrix professionally, but being able to step into that other side of their power that they don't access?
Stepping into your power will hurt, and that is good. I think that pain is a portal, and I think that there is a lot of shadow work you have to do to understand what are the things that were beaten into me, and what do I have to remove. And when you have someone that you can look up to and see that they have done those difficult things, you're like, if she can do it, I can do it. And I'm going to hold on to that strength. So like, your page is a great place for people to come and see. You talk about a lot of the things that you've been through, and you've become this. And that is inspiring. So I think for people stepping into their power, it's like, okay, it's going to take a long time, first of all. And it's not going to be a linear trajectory. You're going to have ups and downs. And I think I come back to this idea a lot about oscillations. Like, I literally see like a sine curve, and I'm like, life is ups and downs. It is, you're going to take a step forward and you're going to think, wow, I made so much progress here. There's going to be a time where you have to take a step back and you're like, maybe that actually wasn't the right direction, but I see a path further this way. Don't be afraid to pivot. Also, I think when you're stepping into your power, you might find things and you're like, oh, that feels really good right now. And at this point in my life, that makes me feel empowered. But a year from now, that doesn't make me feel empowered anymore. And that's okay. things don't always have to be the same for you.
Right.
You can change, you can evolve. And I think for me, I used to be afraid of change, and now I love change. Like, change is awesome. And change is also the only thing that you can predict because it's constant.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that. So I think for me, a quote that I come back to, or just like kind of like my mantra now, is let your curiosity be greater than your fear. Because when you're curious and you're like, what could be out there? What does happen if I keep going? I don't know, but I want to find out because I'm a curious person. So yeah, being open to change and just allowing yourself to follow your curiosity, I think, is a thing that has gotten me through so much. And I just recommend that to everybody, honestly. Like,
Just be curious.
be curious.
Yeah. When I started this journey, like into content creation 3 years ago, I had no power, or I didn't acknowledge that I had any power. And like, I was an animal nurse for almost 12 years. So there is power in helping creatures. Like, there was so much power in that. But stepping into this world where I was scrutinized just for being online and just for what I look like in my appearance and what I'm deciding to do, I just lost all of my credibility and my accountability, or my credibility for what I was for the last 12 years, because I decided to talk about sex. And even though I was the same exact person, and it was so confusing to me. And I was at this crossroads with myself, probably 6 months in, where I would read comments on like Instagram, and it was just beating me down. I had no protection. I had nothing surrounding me other than these comments of these people sticking to me and these voices that I had already heard my entire life of just like more bullies. And I had to look in the mirror one day, and I decided it's either I have to go back to my nursing career that I was so burnt out on, or I need to face these demons. And I need to sit in this fucking pain, and I need to transform. And I need to learn how to not care about what these people think, because I'm changing people's lives, and I need to be able to find that power within myself to keep going. And that's kind of what led me to Colette as well. So
I am so glad that you kept going. And it's funny because, yeah, the loudest people on the internet are like the angriest, or like the ones that have something negative to say. But there are so many people out there that you don't hear that are like, wow, I'm looking up to this, or I see the vision, like I see your purpose and I want to continue on that path. But they're afraid. They're afraid to speak. But the ones that are angry aren't always afraid to speak. So it's hard to know. Look, there is a lot more out there. There is positivity. There's a lot more people like you. And sometimes they're just shy. And you're doing the thing to help them not be shy. You're like, I'll go first.
Right.
Like,
me, and I'm a shy girl. But sometimes you can't always be shy.
yeah, sometimes you got to put yourself out there and see what happens. And
Yeah.
good things can happen.
Lean into that fear, dude.
Lean into that fear.
Mm-hmm.
Curiosity is what we got.
Yeah.
We're going with it.
All right. So one question I ask everybody that is on this podcast is, what is aftercare for you after a scene, so that you feel like you are held? Whether, I'm assuming that's mostly by yourself in these sessions. Like, how do you take care of yourself after a scene to make sure that you can keep going and that you don't drop into a dom drop?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, dom drop is real. And it is a lot of self-aftercare. I feel like for me, I have many, many rituals in my life, and one of them is like my evening routine. So usually if I come home from a session, it's later in the evening, and I'm a bath girl, first of all, as you know. Who's not a bath? And for me, Epsom salts are really key to both relaxing my body. Like we talked a little bit about the athleticism part. I do a lot of physically challenging things on my body, and being in heels, being on your feet, all of that stuff, you have to take care of your literal physical form. And I think a lot about my roots. Like my feet are rooting me into the ground. So in the session, I absolutely will be having my feet like massaged and make sure that I feel like good and calm and relaxed and all of that. But when I get home, I'm stripping myself back down to my most bare form. And that's beautiful. And so connecting with that version of myself as well, and remembering that all of my power still exists there. So when my cat eye comes off, when I have gotten in the bath and my hair is wet and I get out, first of all, for me, you talked about hair earlier. Hair is very important to me as well. Braiding my hair is actually something that is very relaxing. It's methodical, and it reminds me of, I literally grew this myself. And it makes me remember things take time. You have to care for them and nurture them in the long term. So I'm very into moisturizing my body. We talked about body oil. I think there is something intentional about touching your own body and caring for it. Like you can feel someone else touch you and put care, But self-love is very important. And when I ground myself back in that, that is honestly my favorite aftercare, because I'm like, yes, this person served me, but also even without that, I understand I am deserving and I give myself that. And yeah, it's like, you know, the way that I said I serve Jennifer, I'm serving her in aftercare. Like, I am providing the aftercare to her, and she deserves it. So yeah. What about you? What are some of your favorites when you're like doing alone aftercare?
Bubble bath as well.
Yeah.
Like that's like a non-negotiable for me. But in my bubble bath, I actually put an oil. It's a vagus nerve oil, so that it can like bring me back in, slow my heart rate back down, just recenter me. Music is always really important to me. I listen to Gone Beyond, their album 2030, every time that I get into the bathtub. And I always like to shave my legs. It's kind of a funny thing. Even if my legs don't necessarily need to be shaved, it's kind of like an oil in the bathtub where I get to feel my body. And then once I get out of the bath, oil as well. I also like to braid my hair. It's not after every time, but when I braid my hair, it's a very intentional, like each strand is like a mind, body, spirit. And I always just think about each part of myself as I intertwine it and bring it back together.
I love that so much. Mind, body, spirit. I like the next time I braid my hair, I'm like, mind, body, spirit.
I love it because it's just all of me into one.
All of you into one. It's a lot of good things all in one.
Mm-hmm. And then I always try to put on something furry. I probably have a little bit of a fur fetish.
Ooh,
yeah. I love a good, just like fuzzy wuzzy. Grab my squishmallow and then go downstairs, grab my blanket, and get with my dogs.
So you got to get the cozies in.
Oh, dude, I'm such a cozy slut.
Cozy sluts are the best.
Cozy slut. What do you like to do, like personally? Who are you a little bit outside of Miss Hex? What are some of your hobbies?
Outside of Miss Hex, I love dance. I am very into pole dancing right now. I originally was attracted to the Lyra hoop, and then it just so happened that the studio that I found did pole, and I fell in love with that. I think for me, like my physical body is very important for me to connect with myself. So a lot of the time that I spend doing things, like I go on a lot of walks with my dog, I walk to the beach. I love just spending time outdoors in nature. Even honestly, a lot of my hobbies are things that do relate back to Jennifer. Like even if I'm not sessioning or in a scene or whatever, I'll still be spending time with my whip. Like I just enjoy doing that. It's just fun for me. But I think flexibility is a huge focus of mine right now. And it kind of all relates back to pole, because for me, I'm like, when I have a goal for something and I want to improve at something, everything starts to revolve around that. So, I mean, also as kind of aftercare too, like it all connects, right? You do the stretching, it will help with the dom world. It will also help with your own personal desires of dance and sensuality. I think beyond pole, other hobbies of mine, I'm a big reader. I love to read. I love a good book. I don't really enjoy novels all that much, but like I do enjoy books that allow me to learn more about myself. Okay. Like we talked a little bit this weekend about the deep psychology of BDSM. I'm really into psychology, actually. My mom's a psychologist, and the older that I get, the more intensely interested I am in all of that stuff. So I think that for me, I'm like a lifelong learner. I just want to learn stuff. That could be a conversation with someone. It could be literally me like walking down the street, and I'll wear my, I have a onesie that's a Tigger onesie, and like people will see me in it, and it's just a conversation starter. So like that I think is a hobby of mine, getting to know my community. Like the person that runs the corner shop near me, I walk in, I'm in my Tiger onesie, we're having a great convo. I'm like, how's your day going? I just want to know. I want to get to know people and just expand my community, and I just have a smile on my face. Can that be a hobby? Like finding things that make people smile. That's really hard for me to do. So
that can absolutely be a hobby.
Yeah. Okay. Great. My hobby is being silly and pole dancing. Like
perfect.
Silly and pole dancing. Yeah.
Yeah. Love that. Let's see. Where can people find you?
So all of my Instagram, my website for serving in person, my TikTok, literally everything, iwantjennifer.com has all of that information. So that is the best place to reach me. My Instagram is Mistress Hex, but you can find that all on the link. So iwantjennifer.com.
iwantjennifer.com. That is a good website.
Thank you. Yeah. I was like, what could be like a nice catch-all for all of the different things? Because it's like the in-person, the virtual, all of it, it has to go somewhere. It's just, you want Jennifer.
You want Jennifer. You want me. Perfect. Well, thank you for being here today. can't thank you enough for coming and hanging out with Sunny and I and our pups.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been such a fun podcast, and I'm just always happy to spend time with you.
Yeah. Love you very much.
Love you very much.
Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys know where to find us, sunnyandsky.com. And I hope you guys always stay kinky and curious, and I'm grateful to have you. Goodbye.